We are on part 4 of our six-figure career roadmap. So today we are going to talk about the gap, establishing the gap that you've got between where you are now and where you want to get to. But let's just remind ourselves where we've got to so far. So we've talked about your mindset, which we might revisit slightly today, and the executive mindset that you need to have for that six-figure job. We've talked about success and what is it that success looks like for you. And again, we'll be pulling that in today because it's important that we know what our end goal is. And then we talked about how to position yourself as the best possible candidate, getting out there, being more visible, being comfortable selling yourself. So this is where we've got to. And today we're going to talk about the gap. So where are we going and where we are and what is it we need to do to actually get there? So it starts with understanding what that dream job is. What is the six-figure career role that you are ultimately aiming for? Now, hopefully through this process, you've started to get clear on that because you really need to be clear on it. But it's not to say that things won't change over the years. You know, if that dream job is 10 years away, over these next 10 years, things might change. You might find other opportunities, other things you like. But for the purpose of what we're talking about today, in order to achieve a significant goal, a six-figure career, then we need to be clear about the outcome, about where it is we're going. Because if we don't know, we can't take the right steps to get there. So for the moment, we're working on your dream job. You need to be clear on what that dream job is, what that six-figure career job is. So we've got something to aim for. Now, this six-figure career job is very likely to be a director, an executive director, managing director. It is going to be that sort of role to earn the six figures. Really, the only other way you could earn six figures like that is if you're a really highly sought after consultant, or you're running your own business. It's very unlikely that you'll earn six figures doing something else. You might find something, but certainly in the corporate world, a six-figure job is very likely to be some kind of director, top senior level exec board member. So that's kind of what we're focusing on here. So the first thing to think about is once you understand what your six-figure job is that you're aiming for, is what does that job look like? Go out and find somebody advertising the type of job that you're looking for, pull off the job description, and have a look. What is it that they're looking for in this job? What are the skills that they need? What's the experience that they need? Actually have a look, do some research around the type of job that you think you might be looking for, and see how many jobs there are out there like that. Jobs are fairly easy to go and find these days. And even if you log on, sign up with an agency or something, it's just research. You don't have to tell them. You just ask them what's out there at the moment, talk to some recruitment agencies, go on some of the websites, perhaps look at industry magazines and things, online magazines and things that for the sector that you're working in, and have a look at the jobs that are being advertised out there at that six-figure career. And particularly look at the technical skills that they might be looking at for the job. I can talk to you about leadership skills in a moment, but the actual technical skills that you might need for that level of job, that you'll need to do that yourself. I can't help you with that because every job is completely different. So go away and research the job, find out what people are looking for in that job, what skills or experience, what's the technical stuff that you need. Is there particular qualifications? Is there particular experience? Do you need to be the member of a particular body? Because that's an easy thing to do. Join the body. You can probably join fairly free or low cost to start with, and then perhaps become I can't remember what they call them, but senior member of whatever the membership is. So if you work in housing, for example, you'll be part of the Chartered Institute of Housing, and you can be a fellow, I think is at the top one. But whatever it is, get out there and do the research, and some of these things really help you in the long run. But you don't have to start now, but just have that aim so that we know what we're aiming for long term. So with regards to leadership skills, so I can help you with that. And so I'm going to share with you now some of the leadership skills that you will need to have that, to be successful in that six-figure role. And these are all things that you'll be able to start working on now, depending on where your gaps are. So an executive leader is really all about people. It's all about people. There will be other bits and bobs that go with it, but to be a great leader, it really is about people. It's about, you know, you need to be able to inspire teams. You need to be able to bring them on the journey with you. You need to be able to support them through change, you know, be good at change management or implement change management. You need to create a culture and an environment of collaboration so that people work well together. So there's not a blame culture, so that it's a creative culture and people are actually, you know, happy to think about moving things forward. You need to provide a safe space for people to try and fail and learn. And some leaders aren't that great at that, but for me, that's a really key thing. Things will go wrong in business, and that's okay. People, yes, that's the way that things get done. We've talked before about how learning from your mistakes is one of the best ways that you can learn. It's the same in business. You know, as an executive director, you need to trust your team to try things, and if it doesn't work, you need to trust them to be able to put it right. That's the sort of environment you need to create for them. You need to, you know, be seeing the big picture, not micromanaging, not getting into the detail. You've got a team to trust to do that. You have to be aware of the big picture. So you need to be designing services for the future. You need to be giving your teams direction on where the company is going to go in the future. What's your vision for the future of the company? You are responsible for the future of that. And that will include perhaps, you know, finances. So you'll be responsible for funding. You'll be responsible for making sure that the finances are in a good place. Now, you'll have a finance director if you're not the finance director as a specialist, but whatever role you're in at senior level, you need to understand the money. You need to have a business approach to things, perhaps commercial, but definitely a business approach to money. You need to be, you know, celebrating success across the organization, sharing the vision, sharing the success, sharing the good things, you know, perhaps entering awards. But you also need to be able to manage poor performance at the next level down from you. You know, you don't delve right down to the bottom, somebody else will do that. But when you get to that top level, it can be very hard to manage performance because everybody's in a senior role. But this is a job that you will have to do as you climb the ladder. You have to be prepared to have difficult conversations about decisions, about change, you know, whatever's going on in the business. You have to be prepared to have those difficult conversations and to make difficult decisions. But you have to be decisive as well. You can't be seen to be faffing about. Do your due diligence and thinking behind the scenes. Involve people in whatever you need to involve them in, so you're not making these decisions on your own. Listen, be aware of what your people in the company are telling you, but ultimately you're responsible for making those tough decisions. So you have to get your mindset in a position where you're confident enough to do that. And you have to be out there networking. You have to be building the reputation of the organization. You have to be prepared to, you know, be on the radio or the TV, depending on what's going on in your sector and industry at the time. You need to be able to promote the business that you're actually running, whichever part of the business you're in, it will be part of your role. And you need to be able to work across function. You know, when you get to that senior level, you might not know everything, but you need to see the big picture and be able to work across functionally. So these are leadership skills that you need. So have a little think through that list and think about the things that you don't yet feel comfortable doing. Make a list of them because they're part of your gap analysis. And then, you know, just from a personal point of view, when you're a great leader, you need to be confident, or at least look confident. But you do need to be confident in your own ability. It doesn't mean that you know how to do everything. It just means that you've got the confidence to learn how to do it, or to find other people to do it, or to oversee it, to delegate it. But to you know, lead on it, you have to be feeling confident enough to do that. At whatever level you're at, you will always suffer from imposter syndrome at some stage. You will always have self-doubts, but you have to have an ultimate self-belief in yourself and your confidence. So if that's something you need to develop, then put that on your list of something, and maybe try and be a bit specific about the things you need to be more confident with. So if it's presenting in front of large groups, if it's you know, chairing meetings, if it's having those difficult conversations, if it's having the confidence to make a difficult decision, what is it where you need to be more confident? You'll know already some of the things that you're less confident at. So make a list of those, because as you go up the ladder, these are things you're going to need to grow in confidence with. You need to be inspiring people. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be, you know, the best storytelling, lively, energetic person, but you have to be inspiring in your own way. So even if you're a quiet introvert, you need to find a way to actually inspire people to come on the journey with you. Great leaders are always inspiring. Doesn't mean that they're loud necessarily, although that can work for some people. You do it in your own style, but you need to be inspiring people, and that is often around you believing in the vision of the organization and bringing people on that journey with you. If you're passionate, you can show your passion and other people will follow your lead. You need to act with authority. No matter how you're feeling inside, you need to act with authority. People are looking up to you. You are the leader. So people are looking up to you. You need to act with that authority. Even if occasionally you make the wrong decision, still do it with confidence, still do it with authority. And it doesn't mean you don't admit when you're wrong either. You absolutely admit when you're wrong. But again, admit it with authority. Well, we tried that. We had to give it a go. What have we learned from it? Okay, let's move on. And then there's a lot here where you have to learn to empower other people. Now, you have to feel empowered to go to be at this level, but you also need to be really open to empower and trust other people. You absolutely have to move up. We've talked about this as the exec mindset. As you move up the ladder, you have to be moving away from the doing, and you have to trust and empower people to get on with it, even if they don't do it the same way that you would. Even if you can see there might be a better way to do it, you have to let them do it their own way, as long as they're clear on the outcome they're trying to get to. So that's a skill that you're going to need. And then you absolutely have to be able to communicate clear direction. No confusing messages. You need to be very clear about the direction that you're going on, clear on the guidelines, clear on the mission, clear on the values, clear on the strategic direction of the organization and the objectives that we're trying to get to. You absolutely have to be able to do that. So they're some of the leadership skills that you are going to need. So have a little think about where your gaps might be, and make a list of them, because these are all just things that you can put into your own roadmap from a personal development point of view, so that as you step up the ladder. Now, what we're doing here is we're talking about the things that you need at the top end at this six-figure job. You won't need all of those things for the next level job, so we will need to break it down. But if you start with the six-figure gap between where you are now and where you want to get to, then we can just slot those things in as we go, and you can work out what you'll then need. So which of those do you need for the next job? So for the next job, what you need to be doing, so that's probably the next step. So the first step is to work out what you're going to need longer term for this six-figure job. The next step is to work out what you need for the next level job. So do the same exercise, go out and research what is that next level job for you. Find a job description, go and talk to people in that job, find out what skills they actually need, find out what experience you need, find out any qualifications or learnings or anything that you need, and make a list of those. And then immediately you need to start planning how you get those skills, because that's for the next level job. But remember, you don't need all of them before you actually apply for that job, because you can learn them as you get into the job. But it's just good to know where you're actually starting from and what it is you need at the moment to get the next level job. So the other thing then to do is to remember to revisit the things that we've covered already. So you really need to revisit your mindset. So what action is it that you need to take to get your money mindset in the right place, to be thinking positively about money, to know that you deserve this six-figure job? What work do you need to do on yourself to get yourself in the right place for that? Because if you don't get the mindset stuff right first, then actually it really holds you back, because you'll just never believe that you can get that six-figure job. You'll just never believe that you're worthy of it or you deserve it. So definitely make sure that this is top of your list. And then remind yourself of the exec mindset. So we've been through some of the leadership skills there. Remember that the exec mindset is all about that big picture thinking, all the things that we've just been talking about. So you probably have those from this list that we've just worked on. But also, as an exec mindset, remember that you need to be thinking about your career and not your job. You need to be learning from your mistakes, and you need to be continuously self-developing. So how are you going to fit those things into your day? Because time is what always shows up here, and you have to self-develop if you want to go for this six-figure job. So make sure that you are working on that mindset. That means that you're prioritizing yourself, your career, your future over your day-to-day job. And then remember that then leads into your limiting beliefs. So you should have a list of those already that we did on day one. They need to be in your gap analysis. What are the limiting beliefs that you need to be working on so that you can work on them and then cross them off? Okay, so one of the gaps that people often have is this business of confidence. We just don't feel confident enough to take that next step to go for that senior level job. And here, what I would suggest is that you actually understand exactly what that means to you. What is confidence? What is lack of confidence? Because we can say, I just want to be more confident, but that's like a massive thing, isn't it? And actually, how do we deal with that? We don't really know what that looks like. So the trick here really is understanding specifically what do you need to be more confident at. So I did just mention it might be that you just, maybe you need to be more confident speaking up in meetings or chairing a meeting or presenting or making a decision or having difficult conversations. Whatever it is, have a real think about what it is you want to be more confident at. Because just wanting to be generally more confident, there's no action to take for that. You have to, just generally being more confident is just when you get more confident at individual things. And then over time, you realize that actually you are quite a confident person. You might not know how to do something yet, but you feel confident that you can give it a go and give it your best shot. But there are a few things around confidence that you can think about. So one of the things would be to find ways to stretch yourself. In your current role, what could you take on that's going to stretch your knowledge? What action could you take that's actually going to stretch you to move you outside of that comfort zone? So regularly find things that you can do that's going to, something that comes along and you go, oh, I don't know if I'd know how to do that, or I don't want to do that. That's the thing you need to go for. That's the thing you need to give a try. So keep an eye out in your job and your business, and even at home, trying, even if you try baking a new cake, that's stretching you, it's still pushing you, it's still doing something that you haven't done, and your mind starts to believe that actually, oh, I baked that cake and it came out all right. So, it starts to build that confidence in you anyway. So have a little think about how you can try new things, push yourself, stretch yourself. For example, why don't you go and book coffee with your current chief executive? Why don't you just book a little coffee, whether it's a virtual coffee or bump into them in the office, go and have a little conversation with them. Ask them, oh, I'm really interested in progressing my career. What advice could you give me? How did you get to where you are? What are the skills you've had to find as a chief executive? Well, and I dare you, that will push you right outside your comfort zone. Go and book a conversation with your chief exec or one of your senior executive team and have that conversation. Push yourself. Do something that you feel uncomfortable doing. Go networking. We talked about that yesterday. Get off your bum, get out of the office and go networking in person. That will push you outside your comfort zone. Give yourself a target of, who you want to meet, who you want to talk to, how many people you're going to connect with. Just get out there and go and do it. Find something that's going to push you, because all of this, all of this builds your confidence, because the more you do it, the more you realize you can do it. And that's the other thing with confidence. Notice it. Notice all the good stuff that you do. At the end of every day, do a little review of the day and go, I did that well. I did that well. I did all right at that. That went well. Okay, that didn't go quite so well, but actually it didn't go that badly, and I've learned this from it. Really critique yourself and actually really notice what you're doing well, because that builds your confidence. Every time you realize that you're doing something really well, it builds your confidence. So they're my tips on confidence. So one thing to think about here is perhaps not what you need to do to become this six-figure leader, but who you want to become. Think about your identity. What is your identity? Do you sit around thinking, oh, I'm just a middle manager and, I'll never be a great leader? Maybe you're the sort of person who thinks, oh, I'm fit enough, but I'm not that, I don't need to be fit. Some people will be sitting there thinking, I'm a runner. I am a runner. That's their identity. They just go running, and that's what they do. They do half marathons, 5Ks, park runs, and they are a runner. Other people will be thinking, I am a senior leader. That, I identify with that. Actually, I'm a leader. Because remember, you can be a leader without having the title of leader. You can be a natural leader. There's been lots of leaders in the world who don't actually lead anything or manage anything. They just become leaders because of the type of people they are. So try and create your own identity. I am a leader. I am a successful leader. I'm an inspiring leader. People follow me. So you can create it. You can create this little image, this little avatar of your future self, which is like, I am the CEO of a housing organisation. I lead a great team and I improve services and communities. Perhaps that's what you want to identify with. That's the person that you want to become. It might be, I know, I've been talking to a lady here that it's like, I'm a successful business owner. Me and my team support people who have had childhood trauma to now thrive in their life. And so it can be quite specific if you want it to be, or it can just be, I am a capable leader who takes brave action. That's who I am. So have a little think about who you want to be. And every time something comes up for you, think, what would that person do? If I was that CEO, what would I do? If I was that inspiring leader, what would I do? What action would I take? And it does just start to flip your mindset a little bit, because you have to say, actually, that person would probably do the thing I don't really want to do. But if I want to get there, then that's the person I want to be. So have a little think about your identity. What does that person think? What does that person believe? What does that person do? How do they act? And decide that you're going to become that person. And start to act like that now. You don't have to be a leader entitled to act like a leader. You don't have to be a CEO to act like a CEO. Just start thinking about becoming that person now. One thing I'd recommend is find some leaders that do inspire you, whether they're in your organisation, other organisations, whether they're just people that you see in influencers on the telly, whatever it might be, whether you're looking at, Peter Jones or Stephen Bartlett from Dragon's Den or something, or whether you're just seeing people in your industry that you inspire you, follow them, see what they do, see how they behave, see the actions that they take. But all of these are things you can have a think about starting to develop your skills now. And we will talk about this a bit more in the last session, part 5, when I want to talk to you about how to act now to get where you want to go. But just have a think at the moment, who inspires you? Who could you follow? Okay, so I hope that's helped. But before we finish today, I do just want to talk about one other gap, which you might have. And I do come across this a lot, and it's really important. It's all about your well-being. So what does your well-being look like, and what is your gap to where you really need to be? Because I talk to so many women who are so busy. You're busy at work, you're overworked, so you're working long hours, you're working into the evening, you're thinking about work all the time. You lose your energy. You've got other responsibilities at home, whether it's family, whether it's children or partners or parents. You've got the chores, probably all the housework and everything, perhaps to do shopping, and all of these things that we have in our life, and we get so busy that we forget to think about ourselves. Now, if you want to be that 6-figure earner, you have to sort your well-being out, because you do not want to suffer from burnout. You want to perform at your best, and in order to do that, you need to be the best version of you. So really want you just to have a little think here about the gap that you might have in this area. This is all about implementing self-care routines and prioritizing yourself so that you don't burn out, because no job is worth poor health. It really isn't. So make sure you look after yourself as you climb the ladder. And as you think about who you want to be, that new identity you're going to create, make sure it includes that person is a healthy person, that person has fun, that person spends time with their family, that person has adventures. So have a little think about your well-being, implementing morning routines, sleeping better, eating better, exercising better, having a bubble bath, sitting and reading a book, socializing. Just make sure that this is part of who you are. Because even though I'm here pushing you to get a 6-figure job, it's absolutely not at the expense of your health. And we do absolutely only go to work in order to live a great life. So, the well-being has to come with the job. Even though you get this senior level job, you have to enjoy that job. You have to find ways to manage that job. You have to find ways to not be stressed out and not to burn out, and to look after yourself. So at the end of your working day, you come out of it full of energy and ready to start your life, your family life, your social life. So have a little think here. I really want you to include this gap on your gap analysis. Okay, so today we've talked about all the gaps that you need. So what is the job that you're going for? What are the skills that that job has that you haven't yet got? What is the skills for the next level job that you can work on straight away? Find inspiring leaders, find job descriptions, do your research, find out what it is to pull your gap together. And tomorrow we're going to pull all of this together so you end up with your little roadmap and your little action plan to at least take that first step on the career ladder to get you towards that 6-figure role. Look forward to it.